Jeff Gordon, and you're watching Racing America.
Welcome in, friends. It is another hashtag Real Race Talk on your Wednesday special showtime day. Today, we had a little bit of activity going on last night. Huge super late model race on the pavement, so we opted to kind of push this out a little bit. It is the Revved Up Sports Show. My name is Rodney Rodriguez. Bobby Chaffee joining me shortly. And here we go into a new week after a massive race weekend that has just passed us by. And when you really look at, I was thinking about this a little bit earlier because tonight you obviously have, you've got dirt late models that are on the racetrack at Eldora. You've got all of that happening. They've got a pit full of those. You've got high limits that is racing tonight as well. So there's still a lot that's going on a Wednesday hump day. As always, the Revved Up Sports Show presented by our friends at Audio Visual Consultations. Pardon me, I don't have my screen on tonight, but anyway, it's a lot going on tonight. Not only with the racing that's going on this program, of course, our friends at On Demand Shirts, that's over in San Antonio. They are the official apparel provider of the Revved Up Sports Show, of Dirty Air. Lots of racers around this Central Texas region. They're hooked up with our friends at On Demand Shirts. You can check them out. Go to Facebook and look up On Demand Shirts. On the program, Owen Riddle will join us at 7:15. We're going to talk to him about that huge win at the Wenatchee Super Oval this past weekend. And then at 7:35, we'll get some insight from CJ Howell, who was over at Boot Hill Speedway. Massive spring nationals happening for the factory stocks. $30,000 going in the pocket of young Dustin Hennigan. But we'll get CJ Howell's perspective on everything that's going on there. When I say lots going on, obviously with the studio here, I've got the late models over here, high limits a little bit later on, but I've got the Texas softball team that's playing tonight as well in the Women's College World Series. So yeah, checking all of that out as we dive in today. National Cheese Day today, as a matter of fact. If you are a cheese person, if you're a cheese person, drop the kind of cheese you like. And I'm talking about any kind of cheese. Remember, this show is live. So up there in the chat, you can jump in whatever platform that you happen to be consuming the program on, and drop us a little line right there. And if we see it, and if there's time available, we will happily read your comments. Let us know where you're checking in from, because we get a lot of folks that from around the country, different spots where I talk to people and they're like, hey, I'm listening from Nebraska. Hey, I'm listening from Washington, which we'll probably have some Washington contingent checking in tonight. But yeah, let us know your location there. Just drop it in the live feed right there in the live chat, whatever platform that you happen to be checking that out on. So recapping the weekend, and then when we look forward, we'll have some NASCAR conversation as well, because NASCAR back on the track. And of course, one of the hot topics these days is the Prime, NASCAR Prime, with the change right there. We'll kind of talk about a little bit of the ratings shift, where it seems like NASCAR's Cup ratings have actually gone down when you look at the big picture. However, the demographics are changing. I'll give you my thoughts as to why it's a little too late to be bitching about that right now, because it seems like a lot of the outcry is from the folks that have kind of shunned it being NASCAR Cup racing, or that have kind of turned their back on it or don't care to watch it and still watch it anyway. They're the ones that are complaining about this new demographic. But anyway, we'll get into that a little bit later on. Checking out some results that I wanted to touch on here before we get to our guest lineup that's going to be coming up here on the Revved Up Sports Show. Kennedale Speedway Park had just a true, and it was really crazy around here this weekend. Of course, Boot Hill is in Louisiana. So when we talk about in our region, when we're talking about, a lot of people say, y'all are Texas. Well, we're kind of Texas, but what happens here with dirt track racing is it spreads out. It goes to Louisiana, into Mississippi, even into Arkansas. You've got the Texas Sprint Car Series. It's going to be at Texarkana 67 Speedway coming up this weekend, but they kind of fall into our little olive branch tree thing as well, of all the different spots, as we welcome in Bobby. Bobby, great technology, man. Don't you love technology? It's a great thing.
Man, it didn't want to crash until like 30 seconds before we were supposed to go live. And this is backup plan number 4. I now have 4 cameras up, and only
Didn't mean to do that. See, I tell you, technology's great. See what happens?
Yeah, only one of them is half-ass working. So
Yeah, well, it's all right. It's all right. Only need one. Only need one. But kind of what I was talking about right there, Kennedale this past weekend, and it was so when you had the Boot Hill, race. I mean, obviously that was going to consume a lot of the factory stocks. It was what 140 damn near that you had throughout all of that. But you go back and you look. So I think Kennedale did a really cool thing. Was what do? You showcase the iStocks. You bring in the late models, and they had a really great late model show there with our man Bo Begno. Bo knows late models, and it's Bo Begno going to victory lane at KSP, followed by Cody Leonard, Donnie Ship, Austin Teese, and Donnie Geiber. So big late model showing there for them that they had 20 plus. So that's really I really like how they did that, because I thought what would happen in like pavement in the old days. Remember, if you had a big race that was going to be going on somewhere, what would happen is all the other tracks closed. But that shit doesn't happen anymore. It's like everybody's racing no matter what anybody else is doing.
yeah, it's pretty crazy. I mean, with the way that everything kind of shapes up, and you really thought that you would see more of just everything, right? But it just somehow, I don't know if racing just doesn't have the appeal it once had or what's going on, but I mean, I feel like it does, but then at the same time, it's like, well,
It's it's totally different. I mean, everything is so different when you go to region. And this is something that I was thinking about last night. With the UAR race that was going on last night. I mean, it's unheard of. I mean, you've got two big events happening like as we speak. Well, high limit hadn't started yet, but it will soon. But you got two huge events that are going on with Eldora and all that, and then like with the pavement race last night. I mean that place was jammed. That just doesn't happen down here. Of course, we don't do much pavement racing down here at all. But it's so weird how that happens. Where I'd like to try, and our friends at I-37 are going to be trying it here coming up. I don't know if it's in the next week or a couple of weeks. They'll do a Wednesday night show.
It's a week from today.
A week from today. Okay, so it's not something where they're bringing in high limits or sprint cars or any of that. They're not doing any of that. It's a regular show, but that seems to work so well everywhere else. You notice that? I mean, and it's been that way for years. And that's a good problem to have. It's a good problem to have when you can run a middle of the week show and jam your place and have a lot of cars.
That's a good problem to have. I would like to see them try to run a little bit more efficiently than they were the last few times they did it. So that's kind of would be helpful, so to speak. So that would be
here
37.
Yeah. Well, I personally think that's something that needs to be worked on here in most places, to be honest with you. I mean, I know with Boot Hill, I mean, there's that many cars. I know. And I posted something and I said, okay. And I know the lights went out and I know all of these different things happened.
Again?
Yeah, the lights went out over there apparently at some point on Saturday night. And I know that, it's a lot of cars. I mean, I totally get that. And of course, anytime that I post something about an efficient show, it's like, well, yeah, but if it was pavement, there would only be 20 cars. That's not the point. It's like that's everybody's immediate response to me is, yeah, well, pavement couldn't get that kind of car count. I didn't fucking bring up pavement. What does pavement have to do with it?
You just said you wanted an efficient show. That's all.
I'm talking about an efficient show. I don't care if it's motocross, boat racing. I don't care what it is. Wheelbarrow racing, the weenie dog races in Buda. I don't care what it is. I'm just saying an efficient show would be nice. So, I get it. I guess I get it, but that's getting to be an old response. But yeah, I just think that's something needs to happen where these things do need to get a little more streamlined.
Well, I mean, it's a never ending fight. Like it's the part about being streamlined, you're going to end up, it's like racing. Everybody tells me that I bitch about racing too much. What I bitch about racing is I bitch about the fans that bitch about racing, right? It does. Nobody ever sees the silver lining anything, right? It's like when you sit there and race fans are so sensitive and they bitch about everything. Like it's like they just, the show. Oh, I wanted to see an efficient show. Well, that pavement still. Well, I didn't say pavement. Well, we had 135 cars. Okay, well, y'all wadded them up coming out of turn 4 before you dropped a green flag. Like, I'm so tired of this NASCAR and Amazon Prime fight that I'm just going to give up on it and That's why I'm watching college baseball instead of looking at social media.
Well, and it's like you know the whole thing with a lot of that is, you know, a lot of it's not within our control. The drivers running each other over, tearing each other's stuff up on lap one, that's within your control. I mean, and that's where it all falls back to where, you know, you put the helmet on and what, well, you know, I mean, there's ways to combat that. There are track operators and promoters that have dealt with that problem, you know, with that hand that they're dealt. And it happens all across the country. And the lights going out, I totally get that. I mean, that's one of those things. And this is not to pick on Boot Hill. Again, we're picking on everybody to where it's just, you know, and the whole thing is, I mean, if you get a program that's running extremely off target and for whatever reason, I don't care if it's an act of nature or an act of dumbness, you know, it's like, well, we got to have our scheduled 15-minute intermission. Forget that. Why? You can go take a leak anytime. You know, during one of these long yellows, I'll go take a piss. That's kind of my thought with that. You know what I mean?
And we see it. Hell, we've been part of it too, where you're running behind and all of a sudden you actually have to, you know.
Yeah. And then, you know,
keep on running and you're like, come on, man, keep on. Like, there's been times you and I have been pacing in a tower going, come on, get the show on the road. They're like, oh, we got to have everybody's going to complain if we don't end up doing it.
Oh, I've been caught on a hot mic where it's like, you know, you get into these repeated yellow flags and I'm like, geez, come on, you know, whatever. I mean, that's kind of part of the frustration. And again, not to just pick on dirt, but when you get to a pavement race, a local show, whatever it may be, and this is more of a local show, not so much of a big race or whatever, but you get into one of those things and a guy hand grenades a motor and stays in the line and runs around the half-mile track for 2 laps, dropping stuff everywhere. And you're an hour and a half cleaning up oil, skip your intermission. You know, I mean, because it's never just 10 minutes. We're taking a 10-minute intermission. All right, we'll see you in 30. It's kind of my thought with that.
Yeah, kind of the same way, I know.
Yeah, I don't know. But so with that, after all of that, I'm not sure how that came up, but Jared Bransom wins in those iStocks, followed by Brett McMillan. They pulled in, looks like about 18 of those. So again, a good night there with KSP. Shane Hartline wins as you had the Touring Outlaw Modified Series at another one of our tracks here. That is very, somebody did reach out to me and said, hey, Rocket Raceway Park, very near you, right? I'm like, not really. It's not very near us.
It's 6 hours.
Yeah, it is here. Yeah, you know, hop, skip, and a jump for a lot of us the way we drive around here. But yeah, Hartline, Clement, and Dean Abbey there in the Touring Outlaw Modified Series. After that huge $30,000 to win race at Boot Hill that was won by Dustin Hennigan. And again, we'll have CJ Howell joining us right after the bottom of the hour to dive in and give us a little intel as he was there with that. But otherwise, good weekend for you, man. I'm assuming baseball was good for you.
Baseball good for me. Hopefully this next weekend will be pretty good too. So we are in line. I'm actually going to miss the Cotton Bowl races this weekend. I'll be doing a double header of sorts. I'm going to go to a friend of mine's bar just outside of New Braunfels for a car show. And then after we do that, we're going to head down to an establishment in San Antonio to be part of the official watch party for the UTSA baseball team as they take on UCLA in LA.
There you go. Big one coming up as we are currently monitoring the Texas softball game. But anyway, lots going on. But we're here to talk racing, and we're going to dive in. Our first guest joining us, and we go way outside Texas. See, that's the beauty of the Revved Up Sports Show. People are like, that's a Texas show. Bull crap. No, it ain't. We go everywhere. Joining us after a big win at the Wenatchee Super Oval, it is our man, Owen Riddle. How you doing, sir?
Good. How are you guys doing tonight?
Doing well, man. Thank you so much for joining us. Owen, before we talk about the actual race itself, tell us a little bit about that racetrack. I think most of us down here, it's only the pleasure of getting to see it, whether it's on Racing America or wherever else. That looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, it's a beautiful facility, quarter mile, you know, good banking, a lot of grip. And man, the backdrop there is just phenomenal. It kind of sits up on a hill and yeah, the mountains behind and everything. It's gorgeous.
Absolutely.
That's one thing I love about the racetracks that have a beautiful setting. Like, there's nothing better than a racetrack, right? You have a nice little, Saturday night, Friday night show, but then you have then you have the races with the mountains in the background. It makes for some picture perfect photo opportunities. But talk about that. Does that make it a more intimate feel when it's just a racetrack that's a little bit has nature's edge around it or something like that, or is it just you just focus regardless of whether you're running in Montana or Idaho or wherever the case may be?
I think there's a little bit of both there. You know what I mean? Obviously, when you go racing, you're just focusing at that point. But yeah, no, the scenery around there and everything, it gives it a little bit of a different feel. It makes it, I don't know how to explain it, but it's a little bit different feel.
Absolutely. So with the Wenatchee 200, you add that to your list of many, 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 many huge wins. Talk about that race. Fast time. You take the lap right there around, or take the lead around lap 75. Looked like maybe at the end, maybe a little bit there, but it just seemed like you guys were just on par the entire weekend out there at the Super Oval.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, we were pretty good right off the truck. Preston prepared a wonderful car. We went up there and tested a couple weeks ago. Came back to the shop, changed a couple things, improved on a little bit. But yeah, we were fortunate enough. We had fast time there. I think we rolled like a 4 invert on the there to start the race. So we started 4th, got shuffled to 5th. We had a little bit of a longer run there initially. I think about 60 laps or something green off the bat, and just tried to, trying to keep the tires on it and just keep some track position and hang up with those guys. And then we're able to have a couple of restarts there and went from 4th to 2nd, I think, on one. And the next one, I think we were able to take the lead on the outside, which was pretty cool.
Nice.
So let's talk about racing up out on the West Coast, kind of Pacific Northwest too. I think that a lot of people, it doesn't get its due because you always hear about all the super late model stuff in the Southeast, and you got Cars Tour, but you guys are kind of in your own little hemisphere, for lack of a better term. A lot of people recognize the Chili Willy, just because of the connection on with the broadcasting on Flow with the NASCAR tracks. But talk about that whole ecosystem you guys got up there. You got Montana up there, you got Idaho, you got the Chili Willy, you've got all kind of different stuff to add to that Wenatchee, or as I try to mispronounce that, 200. There's Southern twang in me will mispronounce that all night long. But talk about that ecosystem you guys have up there.
Yeah, over in 3/8 mile over there, kind of almost for the most part, very unique. Wenatchee is a really fast quarter mile, good grip. We have another quarter mile in State Line, Idaho that's, kind of low grip. So it changes the feel a little bit. About 3 hours from here over in Monroe, Washington, Evergreen Speedway, we have a big 5/8 mile fairgrounds track, kind of like Nashville, but flat. So yeah, we've got quite a diversity of tracks up here. That's for sure.
Oh, and how great is that? Because I know, like in Texas, we have one 3/8 mile great asphalt track that runs, a couple times a month or so, but that's really it. I mean, and then next closest thing, our guys have to go to Mobile and Pensacola, and there's nothing near here. How great is that for you guys to have so many quality facilities like that? Just within, a lot of people say a 4-hour drive. That for racers, that's nothing. It's like,
yeah,
man, that's a day at the bank. Just kind of talk about how cool that is to have all of those kind of right there in the palm of your hands.
Yeah, it's nice. Obviously, like the rest of the country, I feel like we've lost a couple over the last few years, but the few that we do have left, it's nice. You can get up and load stuff in the morning, travel, and be there for an afternoon practice. And it's not like you have to spend a full day traveling both ways. And, if you really want to, you can actually leave after the race and make it home. It just makes for a late night, but it's we're kind of fortunate in that aspect to where we can just within a day's travel to go racing.
Absolutely.
So on top about that camaraderie, we get lots of people with different racing experience with the different divisions on them. We talk about the camaraderie in the pits. And it's like, what continues to drive you? Obviously, we're all racers. We're all competition driven, and you want to beat the guy next to you. But there is something about having a friendship or relationship with the next trailers, 2 or 3 trailers over in both directions, because if you need a part, sometimes they'll let you borrow it. Sometimes they'll tell you to jump in a lake. But for the most part, the camaraderie with racing seems to be somewhat universal, right?
Yeah, no, and you're exactly right. There's going to come a point in time to when you need to borrow a part, or they need to borrow a part, or whatever it be, or you need a hand getting something fixed at a brake, and your car's all torn up. And it's very nice to have those people. Obviously you have a few closer friends at the racetrack than others, but it's very nice to have that.
Owen Riddle joining us, winning the Wenatchee 200 this past weekend out there at the Wenatchee Super Oval. So, Owen, you mentioned Preston. Kind of talk about that part right there. You've got a heck of a team right there. You guys are rolling. Preston Peltier. Kind of talk about your team, kind of the makeup of that, and how you guys attack these races.
Preston and I have been friends for quite a few years now, really. And last year, he kind of decided he was going to go out on his own and try something new and build some cars and just kind of do track support and everything. And, was kind of the first one to sign up on that deal. And man, I tell you, having him at the racetrack you can't put a price on it. His knowledge of what goes on, how to work on a race car, how to build a race car, just everything it takes is really big. And for me, to be able to bounce ideas off of him, I've been racing a long time myself, but still that, at this point in time, you still have to be willing to try to change or try different things. And so to bounce ideas back and forth between the two of us was really good all weekend. It worked out awesome.
And it seems like it's the everybody, sometimes not everybody, but sometimes the outsiders are like, man, these are just old school, super late model chassis. The technology can't be there. You're just on bump stops and yada, yada, yada. But it's amazing how much technology is really in these cars. It doesn't matter who builds them, but it's like that technology, you miss a half a season, miss a year and a half, you come back and you're going to get lost because you're going to get left behind.
Oh yeah. The technology progresses so fast. It seems like every week it's almost something new, and you nailed it. You're gone for half a year. You're behind the 8 ball when you come back. But there's a lot of things I learned from Preston with this. His saying is you can't just hit the high spots. So you got to. It's every aspect of the race car has to be exactly where it needs to be to get all of it out of it.
So you mentioned you've been at this for a little bit. I mean, 3 Apple Cups, Montana 200s. Bobby mentioned the Chili Willy. I mean, all of these races. Kind of talk about, take us way back, reel us all in as to how it all got started, man. I know a lot of us, it's a family thing where you have no choice. You're stuck. But kind of talk about how you got into this point, man.
I mean, to be honest with you, kind of like everybody else, raced a year or so at quarter midgets when I was a lot younger, but we just didn't have the club up here for it to really sustain. So just kind of stepped away from it for a while. I was a junior in high school. Some of my buddies were building some horn.
Oh,
lost him.
There it is again.
And
there it is.
Cars did that deal, and just kind of had some fun, played around. To a little bit of a backstory, my dad had raced some like Pro 4, some Super 4 car stuff, and so we had one sitting here, and so I kind of was like, I want to try to actually do some racing. The Hornet car's racing, but it's not, and so we did that deal, and we went from there, ran that for a little bit, and then after that, kind of just stepped up into some late model stuff here. We had a track that we lost a couple years ago here, about 20 minutes from home, half mile, Yakima Speedway. But, grew up there and just, started racing on a weekly basis. And just kind of, I think we ran at home for about 4 or 5 years and kind of branched out, started going to Montana and some other tracks and just kind of grew from there.
So you mentioned quarter midgets, kind of how you get started. What's the vibe of the kids on the West Coast, right? In terms of trying to get more and more people involved and getting that next generation started. What's the key? Is it like over there, you just try to get them in quarter midgets, just try to get them off the phone, off of the Nintendo, just try to get them to the racetrack, go-karts, anything over there? Well, like, is that the same mentality as everywhere else?
Hello?
Yeah, so I'm shifting around a little bit right there. Oh, still got you, Owen. Yeah, lost him. There it is.
I ran him away with my question.
Yeah, we'll take a look and see if we're able to get him back in here. But that's the thing with him. When you really go back and you look at his resume, where it's like, I mean, all of these wins. I mean, when we talk about the guys again down south, because it is very much where when it comes to pavement super late model racing, to where it's north, west, southeast, and it's like, I mean, you go down Bubba Pollard's resume, or you name the driver. When you start looking at those resumes, and then it's like when you look at Owen Riddle and you look at his resume, it's like, whoa. So welcome back, man. No problem.
Sorry about that. I apologize. I don't have the best service sometimes.
This is a long wire between you and I that we're trying to make this work. So
that's a long string in between the two cans, huh?
It's a long ass string, that's for sure. All right, Bobby, go ahead. I'm sorry. I don't know if he may have caught what you asked him because
Yeah, I don't know if you caught it, Owen. We were talking about that getting the next generation of racers involved. You mentioned the quarter midgets and stuff like that. What are you guys doing out on that West Coast? And then what, in your opinion, is the next best way to get the next generation of kids off the couch and off the phone and off the simulators to get to the racetrack?
Oh, yeah. I mean, up here we actually, I kind of mentioned that about quarter midgets, and when I started racing, we didn't have enough club. But thankfully, down here there's a very good club. There's a lot of quarter midget racing going on in the state. That's good. A lot of bandoleros, legends cars, a lot of kids and legends up here, which is really good. Teach some car control, because we all know those things are a little bit twitchy, a little bit hard to drive. So we got that. We got some good junior late model stuff up here. Just feeder classes, I'd say, like kind of the rest of the country for the most part.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's a great thing. That's really you have to have that. I mean, you really have to have that, I think, to kind of keep feeding the sport. So for you guys, you get this one knocked out. You notch another one there on that resume. Next big one for you. What's the next big one coming up?
We're gonna go to the Summer Showdown at Evergreen Speedway. I believe that's the 19th of July. So that'll be here before I know it now.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's crazy. So when it comes to the overall picture of super late model racing in the country, right? Where do you see it? Is it the Cars Tour getting all that extra pub because of the owners that they have with the NASCAR owners, or super late models, like you just need to get like an ASA race out there to kind of showcase the talents you guys have? Like, I mean, like super late model as a whole, are you guys disconnected enough just due to the mileage away from, what I would say, for lack of a better term, your mainstream super late model guys? I'm not saying that you guys aren't good, but you know what I mean? Like, you just get that. It's like all the coverage and stuff is all in the Southeast and the Carolinas, Florida, Georgia, all that. And it's like, you guys, like I said, you guys are on your own little island. So what's the state of super late model racing?
It's pretty good up here. We'd hope that there's going to be. I think we have one cars race up here this year, but it's a pro race. We'd heard that next year they were going to try to branch out and get some more races up here, which would be good to be under that sanctioning body. I think, just like you said, to get a little bit more national attention with all of it. But the late model, it's strong up here. We have a pretty good series, Northwest Super Late Model Series, that travels around, does some races. They have a good championship points fund and all that stuff, and so the racing's pretty solid up here. It is a little bit scattered out, like you said, though, and we do feel a little bit removed at some points, just because we don't have a national sanctioning body up here, kind of, per se.
Do you, last one for me, Owen, and this is kind of, feel free to answer it however you want to answer it. Do you, it seems like to me, watching stuff up north, I mean, I watch all of you guys race and over on the West Coast, I see a lot of respect. I mean, I see a lot of respect there where guys are, taking care of each other. You're going to race each other as hard as you can. I mean, that's one of the deals where sometimes other parts of the country, I don't see that. I don't see that whatsoever. Is that something that kind of trickles through the region, where it's like you guys take a lot of pride in that, because you kind of take care of one another, to where others, it's like, I don't care. I'm going. It just seems like you guys are kind of a different mindset when it comes to that.
I would say maybe a little bit. So, as far as kind of like you said, just going and driving through people, we don't try to really do that. These things are expensive. We all know that. And so you got to have them still to be able to go race next week, and you tear them up. It kind of goes back to what you said with the logistics of it. We tear something up here, it's a long ways across country, get a clip put on somewhere or something like that, so that's another thing.
Great point.
But for the most part, I'd say we try to remain somewhat clean racing, but that's not always the case. But for the most part, it is.
Sure. Yeah.
I saw, and other than Preston, we know you got some people to thank. I saw lots of decals and stuff on the side of that car. Who all you got to thank, not only for just the win in the 200, but for your whole campaign this year?
Oh man, I got to thank Preston Peltier Racing first to start with. Donrell Excavating, Brad Peters does our engines. Brandon Ernest does the shocks. Buzzy's got the rear ends. Johnny Hightower for the transmissions. Just, man, everybody. I got a couple other sponsors, Alpine Parts and Equipment, that helped me out. I got a couple other little ones that helped me. Those guys know who they are. But, man, mostly I got to thank my family and my crew, because we all know that without your family allowing you to do it and the crew to help you do it, it's never going to happen.
Oh, man. Isn't that so true? I mean, if you don't have that internal support, it is just no way. There's just no way, because your buddies are always going to leave you high and dry at some point. So,
yes.
Great stuff, Owen. Congratulations on the win, man. We look forward to hopefully doing this again soon after another big one, man. Thanks so much for hopping on. Well, you're ahead of us, so that's right, because you sent me over the time difference. A lot of people, I'll ask them to be on our show, and they're like, "Man, that's like 10 o'clock my time." I'm like, "Oh, sorry," but anyway, appreciate you doing this, man. Hope we get to do it again soon.
No, thank you guys. I appreciate you having me on. It was an honor, and yeah, hopefully we'll get to talk soon.
Absolutely. Take care. Be well. Good luck, brother.
Thank you. You guys have a good night.
You bet. There he goes. Owen Riddle. Great conversation right there as he wins there and don't feel bad, Bobby, the whole Wenatchee thing. The only reason that it rolls off my tongue is so they
did you have to do the read for it?
I had to do a read for it a while back, and that's still when Alan was the one that was kind of feeding me those, and he's like, "Oh, all right, here it is," and so he sends it over, and I cut it, one cut. You know how I am, where I'm always like, "Man, one cut, dude. I do it in one cut, dude." I thought I nailed it, and I sent that shit over, and he's like, "What did you say?" I'm like, "Y'all didn't tell me how to say that." Wenatchee. It just that's so cool. I like that name. That is a badass looking racetrack.
It is, and there's a really good write-up on if you go to the website on Racing America, there's a really good write-up about Owen and that $25,000 race that talks about some of the bigger names that were in that race. I mean, a couple of them friends of the show. You've got hold on, let me get to it. Uh-oh, that's not good. That would be the Firefox window of death right there. I'm just having hell with technology right now. Anyway, Cole Raz finished top 5, and our buddy Michael Atwell and Chris Davidson's car was running that race. He wasn't up at the top of the speed charts. Looked like he was having some fighting some issues, but he wasn't necessarily up there. But yeah, there's a really good article on the Racing America on the Racing America page that's going to have that's got the write-up on there is what I'm trying to say as I try to make sure my computer doesn't eat itself just like my camera did earlier.
And I got to tell you, there's something about with let me see if I can find it here. I know we pulled it up a couple times, but there's something about, I mean, that car right there. I mean, the 10 car, that color, it kind of, you guys know that Jim Pallas has been a great friend of ours, for a lot of years. I mean, that's almost kind of that grabber blue that Jim's cars used to be back in the day with the blue and white. And of course that looks, honestly, that looks a lot like Armandia's car, to be honest with you. But yeah, that right there, that color and this, man, but it was such a solid weekend for that, Peltier team for the 10 car. I mean, because they did, like he said, they rolled off the trailer fast, and to be able to set the fast time. And that's the other thing where I'm glad he mentioned that, to where I said fast time. And he said, well, there's the invert, you had the invert last night, in the race last night at Berlin. And again, that didn't stop Carson Hocevar, but that's the other thing about it, where a lot of times the invert a lot of these dirt races, I wish they'd invert them, where like pavement does. That's one thing I think pavement does really well with inverts.
Well, I just think I've been on both sides of the arguments for an invert, right? I understand from the competition, you don't want this stuff, and you see it a lot. We've seen a lot of San Antonio back in the day, right? The fastest guy would be on the pole, and he'd go out and he'd just wax them.
Yep.
And you didn't want to see that. So then you started doing the invert. You do a random invert. So the guy that used to be the fastest of them all wouldn't qualify the fastest. He qualified, make sure he qualified 3rd or 4th on the invert. Then he'd start on the pole, and guess what? He'd still go out and wax him. So I think that it just becomes a challenge from the promoter wise to determine how you want to be able to do that, whether you want to be pro invert. We used to do the hat draw with USRA back in the day, 25 years ago or so. So I just think it's, sometimes it's I like the more random drawing than I do inverts, because then everybody's got the same chance to get screwed when you do a random draw the top 6 or top 8 versus when you just do a full-fledged 1 to 8 swap.
Yeah. And I know that there's still a lot of folks saying about a full field invert. I mean, because you remember back it was where, as I was growing up racing, it was like, whether it was fanning or driving or whatever it was like when we raced at Speedorama, you went there, and if you were the high point average, you're in the back. You
had to be in the back. But that's when we had, gosh, I don't want to say real short track racing. It was a different beast back then.
That's
right. Like it wasn't always fast guys up front. Like it was It was that way all over the place, where you didn't line up by point. You lined up reverse point average, and the guys were in the back. That kind of thing now is unheard
You
of.
can't do that now.
Yeah, you
I
can't
mean,
do it. Like, I don't
no,
know any track that lines them up like that hardly anymore.
no.
I mean, everything's set off of qualifying or heat races, or one thing you don't see them line up by point. You do at a few tracks, but that's more of an anomaly nowadays versus the way it used to be years ago.
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine that now? I mean, it's bad enough if you invert the top four, you're going to have total mayhem. But if you put the high point man in the back every week, oh my God, that you'd be there for a week. I mean, imagine if you had a 30-car race or whatever it was. It would just be so impossible, just with the lack of discipline and some of the stuff that we see these days. There'd be no way. I mean, and that's why, and it always sucked too, because I know, like the first time I won a feature, I won from like position 3 because I was low point average because I crash every week. And then you go out and win a feature, and it's like, well, that's okay. I'm going to start in the front again next week, because
made you start shotgun when you won the week before.
Yeah, you won the week before, and they're like, you start last. And I'm like arguing. I'm like, man, my point average sucks. That didn't help me that much. Oh, no. But you won last week. Like, wait a minute.
You started in the back for 3 reasons. 2 of them weren't good.
Yeah.
You either were a brand new car,
Yep.
you just won the week before, or you were the point leader.
Yeah.
There's only 3 ways to start in the back, and more than likely, unless you chose to.
Yeah.
Back in the day, it didn't matter if you raced for an inch or you raced for 500 miles. If you were pole man, your rookie ass was going to sit on the pole and wad it up. That's for sure.
That was, oh my God, that was it, and that was the bad thing about it. All unless you put yourself in the back, like you said, because it was where I remember when I started out, it's like, go out there, and then at first you're just getting run over because you don't know what to do, and trying to start a race, everybody's going to be pissed off. You're not going, whatever, and then as you get a little more confident, then you, like you said, you haul ass into the turn, you're going to spin out and take out half the field. So everybody's pissed off anyway. And then it was, and you're always on the pole because you crash, your shit's all tore up, and the point average just keeps going lower and lower and lower and lower. And it takes a lot to be like, I'll just go to the back. I think I made up a reason. I was like, oh yeah, transmission, the clutch is slipping, we're going to go to the back. Clutch is totally fine. It's like brand new. I'm like, I don't want to be on the pole.
I mean, I remember when they would invert us, like we would start, we'd qualify it every week and they'd still invert us, but they wouldn't give us any points. They took away heat races because it was taking too long. So they went from an 8-lap heat race to a 2-lap qualifying. It didn't matter if you qualified first or second, they inverted the whole field.
Yeah.
And it's like you fight to get back to the front, but it's like those other races where like you ended up where they, do a random draw of the top 6. One time I'm sitting on, I'm used to starting out back, and one race, championship race, I'm starting on the outside pole. I'm like, what the hell am I doing up here for this? So
yeah.
That was, what today is a very somber day in my household.
Uh-oh, what happened?
Today is the anniversary of the day that changed the trajectory of my racing career.
Uh-oh.
Today is the day that the high five blew up.
Yeah.
It comes up in my phone, like it's in there, and my Facebook memories pop up. My phone says high five blowing up Remembrance Day. That's what what it says this morning on my phone when I woke up with, you wake up to your calendar telling you what today is. That's what it said. High five Remembrance blowing up day, or high five blowing up Remembrance Day.
You got to remember the happy days, like I was doing over the weekend in my old racing self, decrepit self, where I saw here's what it was. I was actually I was looking for something, because we've been kind of doing some different stuff at the house and renovating and doing different things. So I was looking for something. I ran across some old newspaper articles or maybe the old Rat Tracks or whatever that thing was called, those old magazines or newspapers they were. And I found where it was like May 27, 2000. And I looked and I'm like, oh, hey, we raced that weekend. How'd I do? And I won that weekend on Memorial Day. So I went and I found the trophy. And I'm like, hey, look here, so you got to remember the happy days. Don't remember the sad days.
I don't know. My trophy broke. Like, we don't have like the same trophies that we have now from 317 awards, like most of the tracks give away here in Texas. Most of mine broke. Like my second place championship trophy broke after 2 weeks after I had it.
Well, I've got plaques. Yeah, I got plaque. That's the nice thing about having plaques because they stand the test of time. But even back in those days, I remember for a long time you got like the wooden plaque with the metal inlay on there that said third place or whatever it was, had
I
your
got the
name.
rookie of the year from Mad
Yeah,
Racing Promotions up on the wall next to the desk.
yeah. And then a lot of those got to where it was just like a certificate. You remember like at school, or it's like perfect
Yeah.
attendance, just I'm like, no, man, I need a plaque. I want a plaque. Yeah.
Yeah, our buddy Owen Pittman, though, he can hook you up with all that stuff, including vinyl wraps and everything else down at 317 Awards down there in Corpus Christi.
He can do that for you, and don't forget the official provider of Revved Up gear. It is on-demand shirts. They've got not only us hooked up. I'm glad to say we were one of their first clients. We kind of imagine that we hit the rage on that too, Bobby. We're trendsetters, buddy.
We are trendsetters in more ways than one.
Trendsetters, as that was. On-demand shirts out of San Antonio. It's James Cole and that great group right there. They can hook you up with that. Earlier, I played it by mistake. How about a word from our man, Tom McKay? You want a home speedway system for the rest of the racing season? People say, I don't watch NASCAR anymore. Well, you know what? When you turn on your streaming provider, that shit works on the big TV too, and it sounds just as good. Here's Tom.
Hi, this is Tom McKay with Audiovisual Consultations. Today's home electronics can be a bit daunting. My company has spent the last 36 years making sure they are not. For those of you who have not experienced our services yet, we'd like to invite you to give us a try for all your home electronics needs. We carry all the major brands of televisions and stereo equipment at prices you can't find in stores. And we come to you. There's no need to leave your home to find great pricing and incomparable service. No traffic, inexperienced sales geeks, or pushy showroom tactics. We believe in having some fun and dreaming big. Do you have a dream for your home entertainment? Let us know. We can make it come true. And we are always there to help after the job is done. We cultivate clients for a lifetime by treating everyone like their family. No, not those family members. I'm talking about the ones you actually like. So relax, hug your kids, make love to your wife, and smile. Then, when you have a moment, give us a call at 255-8678. That's 512-255-8678. Or online at
Welcome to the My Race Pass app, the #1 app for motorsports fans. We want to make sure you get the most out of your My Race Pass app experience. With your new free account, you can use the My Race Pass app to see race day information, including event entries and official lineups and results for over 600 organizations across North America. You can also see track information and purchase online event tickets for select tracks. With your free account, you can also search for a track or series on the My Race Pass app and favorite their profile to receive news and race day notifications on your mobile device. To see more information and to see which app subscription is best for you, be sure to visit getmrpapp.com. My Race Pass, the
Yeah, that thing is really cool. Get a hold of that, and you can follow from anywhere. And our friends at Race Monitor also. But yeah, just my Race Pass, really cool tool to have.
Speaking of My Race Pass, the registration for the summer shootout at Texana that our buddy KR is putting on, registration opened just this past couple of days, so you can register. $5,000 to win factory stocks, $5,000 to win limited sport mods.
Yep,
gonna be a good one. Biggest race down there in a number of different years.
a lot of years. Efforting CJ Howell, have a message in there. We'll see if we what happens with that. But kind of to button up pavement after that great conversation there that we just had with Owen Riddle. So last night it is Hocevar over Scheid, Campbell Jones. Your top four right there. The race had its moments, and again that was. Very impressive with that they were able to have 29 cars as all of that really expedited really fast. I mean, and that's another great job there by Ricky and the group there where, a lot of times, maybe to pull the plug or whatever, but nope, that's not the case. And we've seen that a couple of times where Ricky, kind of tries to get it into one show. Very efficient. It seemed like we were talking about the Cars Tour a while ago. Big win big race at Langley. Chase Burrow, his first win in 44 starts. Jared Fryer again, second place, man. When he was on the show a couple of weeks ago, he was kind of talking about where he's kind of picking and choosing what he's doing right now. And I mean, man, what he is picking when he shows up, holy shit, that 14 car is fast.
He's hanging in there, right? He wasn't joking. I wonder if he's still making that commute from Jacksonville. I guess he still is.
Yeah, I would assume so. But man, that 14 car shows up, and it's like, geez, that dude's going to be in the hunt right there. But Jared second,
Sounds
Matt
very
Walt.
similar to his grandpa.
Yeah, absolutely. Great stuff right there. That's pavement. Got to talk about Keelan Harvick. I know that was huge news. I mean, that was really, really huge news. But did you see what happened to Kevin?
I saw bits and pieces of it. I hadn't got to see the whole thing because I was busy with baseball.
Yeah, Harvick is able to make the pass and goes into the lead right there. And Jacob Gomes gets on the bottom side, and just Harvick got plowed. I mean, that was, I think, if Keelan hadn't won the race, although Kevin Harvick's in a different spot right now. I mean, probably not would we have seen classic Harvick, but man, Harvick just got flat ass taken out. But it opened up the door, took out 3 or 4 cars right there at the front, and Keelan was kind of sitting back there, and he wins. 12 years old, man, pretty damn impressive. Like it or not.
Well, him and Brexton Bush are the 2 next big generational talents coming up. I mean, obviously they've been born and bred for this, basically, right? Their whole lives they've been around racing, and they've gone up. They started with go-karts or quarter midgets or bandoleros in Brexton's case and stuff like that. So it's it's another aspect to see it. Our friend of the show, Case James, he's another one of those kids, 4th generation talent. He wins those big USAC races. He's done damn good in his legend car coming up the last couple of years, or last year or so. And so, the next generation's out there. We just got to find a way to get them honed in, and let's not put them in too fast. Let's not put them in cars that are above their heads. And, I don't want to see that, but we've seen that progress, put somebody in when they're not ready, and that career just tumbles down the wayside when it's could have been something pretty special.
Yeah, we see it so many times there, and of course that was one of the immediate, because nobody's going to say anything positive, at least not right off the bat. And it's like, well, yeah, he's in the best equipment and so forth. Well, yeah, that's not his fault. I mean, he's been racing since he was like 3, isn't it? I mean, the dude's been doing it, I mean, forever, and it's the whole thing is that I've seen. Talking about Brexton, I mean, I've seen him like at the Chili Bowl, and I think one of the things that makes him, I think, so good on the track is that I've seen Brexton like being a kid, running around acting his age. When we were at the Chili Bowl, I mean, as a matter of fact, I mean, this is a true story. I mean, we have, when we're out doing our activating, we have our spinning wheel for people to come win stuff. He kept coming over and spin. I'm like, dude, why do you keep spinning? You've won everything here. I just want to spin the wheel. That's a kid being a kid. And I think that there's a fine balance right there to where these youngsters are doing that, where a lot of times they put them, some of the parents, I mean, I see it with youth sports all the time, to where you put them on this pedestal, or it's like too much pressure for them, and they're going to cave and they're going to fail. But I think these kids get to be kids, and they happen to be in the best equipment. And that's not a bad problem to have. We've seen a lot of youngsters in the best equipment, like you said, that fall on their face, and they're never the same, never come back. So good for them. But a big win right there, and a happy day for Harvick, and especially at his racetrack.
Yeah, that's a beautiful track, man. That track,
God, isn't that gorgeous?
I'd love to go there, see a race in person.
Man, that is an absolutely beautiful racetrack right there. All right, so I was kind of holding on to it, but if we're not going to get CJ, let's dive into this Boot Hill 30K race. So it's a lot of cars. And I know that when we started the show, we were kind of talking there about, and that was not specifically to Boot Hill. That was not specifically to this race. That was just kind of a broad prospectus of everything. But I was explaining to some guys on Saturday about what this race was all about, because they said, so what's the big race going on this weekend? I said, well, it's going to be this Spring Nationals in Greenwood, Louisiana. And they're like, what is it? Sprint car? No. Dirt late model? No. Modified? No. So then kind of telling them what this is all about. And it's like, man, look how big this is. And look at what's coming, and that many cars for that kind of money. That's a lot of times why you get what we bitch about, but unbelievable, man. Good job by them. Great job by them.
I mean, they got it in. Obviously, it's postponed the first time by Mother Nature. So this time weather was a little bit more favorable. And so, that helped out as far as, the racing conditions. But, the problem is that was just the social media buzz for that race, or at least after it started or before they took that first green, stuff like that. You could tell the reaction from everybody that was watching it. Because it was like when they wrecked coming to the green, everybody on social media was like, "Oh no!" Like they're wrecking before they even get to the flag stand. So like it became a challenge. That's what I love to see when you have these races that supersede social media, where you've got that's what I call those needle moving races, where it actually moves the needle on social media. For that many people to talk about it, there was a lot of people watching it
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
in
and
person and streaming, obviously. So
yeah, a lot of people there. Yeah, I mean, obviously it was packed. I mean, I don't know what that place holds. I mean, but still, I mean, there were a lot of people there, a lot of eyeballs on it, and the thing was, I think that hopefully what comes out of that is that you had a lot of eyeballs, not just. I mean, obviously we know with the core of race fan down here that you're going to have those folks that are going to be glued into it, but I think some other people maybe from outside the territory that get to see what that's all about, because that is our stronghold here, like where we were talking there about up north with Owen and all of that, and that's where, yes, as a pavement fan, when somebody's rattling off all of those tracks that they have, it's like, man, that's kind of frustrating. But at the same time, I'm a dirt racing fan as well, so the fact that we have all of what we have here, it's just back to that geographical difference. But I think that there were probably a lot of new eyeballs that saw that. Maybe that's good and bad with the way that some of that turned out. But I mean, you just go and you look at car count, and for a stock car race, holy shit, that's a lot of people.
there's a lot. And what gets me though, and I was going to ask our buddy about that tonight because I knew he was going to have an opinion about this. It's the same thing that we get when I ask some of these guys that runs the Cars Tour if the Cars Tour is getting too big, right? What I mean by that is the same thing. Is this Boot Hill race, this $30,000 to win, where you're getting 115 cars? Is that too big? Because this race was a little different because you had more than a handful of guys. You probably had a dozen guys that had a legitimate shot at winning this race. Same thing with the King of the Hill. There's usually about a dozen guys that have a shot at winning that race, winning the big money. What is the motivator to get some of these other guys that are maybe not that elite level to go to that race? Is it because they're trying to up the program to get to that elite level? Some of that I would say sure, but then you got the other guys that it's like you see him in the pits and you're like, damn, why the hell's that guy here?
Yeah.
You're like, I mean, he doesn't even run top 10 at his local track. What the hell's he doing up here for this big money show? So, but I get it. You need those kind of guys, those racers, to come to your gate because that helps pay the bills. Because they're the guys that usually are not bitching the most. They're just there to have fun. But the problem is when you have a race of that caliber, that's more about racing than it is about having fun.
Yeah. And just, you think about that because it really is, because we don't see these car counts going down. I mean, at all. And like there were tracks that raced factory stocks and still had pretty decent car count, 20 cars. I mean, there's, a lot of racetracks they'd love to have 20 cars on a good night. And I would consider that not to be a good night with all that going on. But I think that that's where this division is, I mean, so healthy that these guys and ladies keep going back. I mean, they keep going to these races to where it's like, I'm probably not going to, and that's the other part, Bobby, where it's like, I'm gonna load my shit up. I'm pretty sure I'm not gonna make the show or even get close to making the show, but I'm gonna go be in the show. And that's a heart of a racer right there. You know what I mean? It's like shit. And it ain't cheap. I mean, that's the other part where the conversation I was having on Saturday, to where it's like, oh, stock car. No, not quite. But hey, man, I mean,
stock frame and stock appearing body. That's about it.
Yeah. Hennigan, the youngster, Ricky Ingalls, Dalton Faulkner, Joshua Daugherty, CJ Howell, Tracy Denby, Whitehead, Atkinson, Underwood, and our man Persley rounding out the top 10. But that's where, just a lot of that is you make the race, and that's a win. And that's what you consider a successful weekend is making the show, because in a race like that, that's really and it's like, and that's what's so weird about this to me, is because we just had this one, and like in what, 2 weeks, you're going to have the Mike Parker Memorial again. I mean, not again, the Mike Parker Memorial again, but another big show. It's, man, you want to talk about healthy. I think they're on the incline. It seems like they just keep bringing more and more of these things in.
I mean, there's big races everywhere. I mean, even for that race that we're doing down at Texana with KR, the $41,000 total purse, that's a lot of money. I mean, $5,000, that's still somewhat of a season changing program. I mean, it's not, $30,000, but I mean, $5,000 to win in a factory stock and $5,000 to win in a limited. I mean, that's a lot of money for that area down south. That's a lot. That's really good money for them down there.
A lot of, in my opinion, is with these folks that just keep on. It's something that you asked Riddle right there, where he answered, where it's like, you can't take time off. I mean, if you want to be competitive, I mean, you have to be on the track, because dirt, obviously I mean, look, I mean, don't try to blow air up my skirt. It's expensive. It's not as expensive as pavement racing. I'm sure it's not, but they're spending a lot of coin right there. But you have to be on the track, because the evolution of these cars just keeps going and going and going and going. And I think where you start to see, because I talked to another person on Sunday where it was like, oh, hey, I saw X driver, no need to mention names. I remember that guy in the modifieds. I'm like, yeah, those people are racing these cars now. So it's just so competitive. I think you have to be on the track as often as possible. And the thing about it is, most of these factory stock weekly shows, which can pay $1,000, $1,500, man, that's a main event. I mean, it's literally a main event, to where it's that many good drivers from who knows where. Like you guys at Texana, when Faulkner shows up, it's like, what's he doing here?
Usually racing juice boxes.
Yeah.
And go-karts.
Yeah. So it's, hey man, it's cool to watch.
What are they? Well, they announced Texana guaranteed 1,000 to win rest of the year, regardless of car count.
Yeah. There you go. By the way, our friends Cotton Bowl Speedway, they will be in action this Saturday. Bobby mentioned that. So go on out there if you want to, racecbs.com. That kind of puts a cap on the local stuff coming up. What do we have going on around here this week? We talked about
Cotton Bowl's got Dwarfs. I-37's got the weekly show. But we'll be able to preview that next week, because it's a Wednesday show and we should be back on Tuesday.
Yeah. Be back on Tuesday. Southern States Modifieds at 105 Speedway, American Sprint Car Series at in Arkansas at 67 Speedway of Texarkana. So all of that,
and late models in Corpus.
Late models in Corpus. Just go find your racetracks, and you will see all of that. Pavement racing, I think, back next week at Houston, 6/14. Is that when that is? I believe that's
2
when
weeks.
the next one. Oh, 2 weeks. Okay. 2 weeks out. So yeah, all of that. Find a streamer, find all of that action. NASCAR. You've got, Hocevar wins last night. Carson Hocevar, I've heard a lot of chatter on the national scene to where it's like the dude needs to be humbled. The guy needs to whatever. That's naturally going to happen. Just give it time. I've heard folks say where NASCAR needs to step in or somebody needs to step in. I think people stepped in and kind of ruined the Ross Chastain momentum. I wish they'd have just let him be, just let him be, let him get humbled. Although he's kind of gone back, but it's still not the same Ross Chastain, in my opinion. But, Hocevar, this is nothing new. We followed him for years. It's the way Carson drives. It's the way Carson's going to drive until probably somebody punches him in the teeth. That's probably
that's what Stenhouse said he wasn't going to do. He wasn't going to wait around for him because it cost too much money, because it cost him way too much money the last time he waited around for somebody.
Yeah. And that's really the whole thing about it, to where I don't, even with that, this is where, when that happened the other day, and folks this goes back to the whole thing we have said on here forever. This is how we race. And I don't care, you want to talk about rich kids in the Cup Series and all these different whatevers. This is how we race now. You name it. It can be in the Hornet division or whatever. This is what we were just talking about there with Owen Riddle, to where it's like a lot of times it's like, and it just happens. You get in the moment, and that's the way that you're taught to race. I happen to think that a lot of this starts at a very, very young level when we're talking about youth sports, and parents are doing this and they're. I think it starts there, but that's a whole different discussion that we probably don't need to get into right now. But let it work itself out. If he goes and hooks somebody, gets somebody hurt, puts them in the Medivan, yeah, step in. But it'll settle itself. And he probably fucked with the wrong guy. I will say that.
Yeah, more than likely. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that'll fix itself.
At some point, you get humbled whether you want to be or not.
Yeah. Yeah, there's absolutely no doubt about that. So, yeah, we'll see what happens there. But the prime numbers, I kind of talked about this before you came on, kind of get it out of the way. I mean, it's kind of a sore subject for all of us. Like you said, I'm kind of tired of hearing about it. But the whole thing, with the new numbers coming out, I think those are very good streaming numbers, because let's call it what it is. Prime is streaming. Prime is not network television, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, in my opinion, with streaming right now. But to where it's like the Cup Series is losing viewers, yes, overall. But the demographic that they are capturing is the demographic that they haven't had, and the demographic that they are losing was supposedly already lost. And it's the demographic that they're losing that are bitching about the demographic that they're gaining.
Yes.
So it's like new eyes are good because old eyes don't care, or so they say.
Yeah, or so they say. I mean, like it's you saw my rant on Facebook the other night. It's the same thing I've said before. It's no different than what ESPN did back in the 80s. It's no different than what TBS and TNT did back in the 80s and 90s. They put NASCAR properties on their television sets because it enticed people to buy basic cable. And the more people that had basic cable, or I guess what we consider basic now, you had to pay more for it then, right? But the idea was that if you had more eyeballs, you got more money and you got to expand your brand. There's a reason why they put world-class championship wrestling on ESPN on Saturday or on weekday afternoons when they had the tape delay, because they put eyeballs on the TV sets. Amazon Prime is doing the exact same thing. Yes, they gave a boatload of money to NASCAR to put 5 races on Amazon Prime because they want to expand the subscriber count. Mm-hmm. And don't even get me started on the people that have Amazon Prime and get their stuff 2 days shipped in or same day and all that good shit. But yet they didn't realize they had Prime Video. That's not a NASCAR problem. That's an Amazon Prime problem.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a whole thing to where, I can't get it. I guarantee you, I would say the majority. Oh, I can't get that. I can't watch a race. If I go park my ass in front of your house for a week, one of those trucks is going to drop something off at your house. I guarantee you that. And it's, look, I think that's where NASCAR listens to everything. I mean, they see everything. They see all the, and they get good review, and they get rave reviews. I mean, they get some good reviews, but they get a lot of bad, and they get a lot of negative feedback. And to me, this is kind of where NASCAR with this deal that's been made and the way it's progressing, essentially what they are kind of saying, and it's really going to piss the old fans off, is like, all right, if you don't want to watch us on Fox or whatever, we don't need you. We'll go get new people. And I mean, if you can't count on the old, like we said there, your buddies are eventually going to let you down. If you can't count on your buddies, what do? Go get new friends. That's what NASCAR's doing. They're going to get new friends. And I guess all the old friends that were left, now they're going to like IndyCar, I guess. Hell, I don't know.
I mean, I cannot help it if somebody has a 20-year-old TV that doesn't get streaming. That's not my fault. That's not NASCAR's fault. Your average household, your average TV goes out every 4 years, at least, except for the ones you get from Tom McKay at Audiovisual Consultations. Those last for a long time.
Those last forever.
Yeah, those last for a long time. But your average TV that you get out of your big box store is not designed to last a long time because they don't make any money if they don't sell any TVs.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a Tom McKay TV because I burn through a TV about every 3.5 years because they're just not made to last anymore.
Well, and you live and die by what you live and die with your phone, whether you want to or not. And you know what? These carriers and these manufacturers and all that, I am fully positive that they have these things set to where when they're ready for you to buy a new phone, they're going to make sure you buy a new phone.
Because it slows down. Every time there's a new model, your current phone slows way down and you're pissed off.
That's it. When there's a new iPhone coming out, I'm like, oh, phone's getting slow. I bet we're about 4 months out from the next one coming out. And then boom, here's iPhone 80,000, So, I mean, look, the streaming is the way of the future. I mean, when it comes to network TV, I don't care to watch network TV shows. I mean, all I watch is sports. That's all I watch, and it's mostly consumed on cable or apps. Well, no, not cable because I don't. We cut the cord, so it's all whatever. So,
but you still had to pay for it.
Still had to pay for it.
Everything. Still had to pay for it.
Everything. If you want to watch KTBC News, KVU News, KXAN News, KI News, San Antonio, you got to get a converter box. They don't give you those either. I remember when all that digital thing was going on, I think they gave them away for a little while, but I had an old raggedy dag TV in the garage a while back, Bobby, and I was like, I'm not getting rid of this. And I priced a digital converter box so I could watch the locals. I'm like, dude, that's worth more than the TV. I'm not paying for that. It's crazy. But this is the way of the future, the streaming. And it's like, but it's not. People are going to complain about paying $50 for this endless flow coverage, watching Flow Night and the Racing in America right now. And the High Limits is now on. I got all that right there. And $50 a month. And Racing America, $18.99 a month for, by the way, $18.99 is a damn good deal for all the racing that you've been getting as a sub here, these last few whatevers. And some of these other ones, we're not gonna complain about that. But a free trial for 5 NASCAR races, oh, that's a travesty. It's free.
The problem is that the people that are watching it love it. I was at another baseball game supporting my school, so I only got to see bits and pieces of the race. But everything that I saw on social media and the race itself, okay, got review. But the coverage is what is getting rave reviews. Everybody that's watching it loves the coverage. I think that's the number one thing to be had out of this whole new evolution. Like when WWE went from USA to Netflix, it didn't change. NASCAR moved from Fox to Prime, it changed. Right? And that's just one of those things. Like, I mean, I love watching the 600. 600 was great. The graphics were good. The team was good. Same thing. I heard good positive stuff. The pre and post race is what's getting more reviews than anything.
Yeah.
In a good positive manner. People are used to a race, but they're not used to this pre-race and post-race stuff.
Well, and I mean, look, they went. I mean, let's take out the looks thing. I've probably already mentioned this. Danielle Trotta is solid. I mean, when it comes to, I hear her on the radio and all that, and that's like whatever. Danielle Trotta is a TV host. I mean, when it all comes down to it, that's what she's done. I mean, she reported on sports. That's what she's done forever. And what did I just say? Forever. She's done it forever, and she's just really solid the way she handles that desk and with those guys. And Carl Edwards is great. I mean, that's. Yeah, you get a down home guy up there. I mean, the pre and post is really good. I mean, the delivery of the actual action is great, and I think that the highlight. I think the CW is doing really great as well, man. So it's like Fox it's gotten stale. I mean, out with the old, in with the new. Maybe it'll open up the eyes a little bit. I don't know, but
I'm interested to see how it adjusts with TNT and NBC.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, I wonder what tweaks they're going to make based upon the feedback they've seen on Amazon Prime. But it's 2 different business models. You can't have this, streaming can do whatever the hell they want because they're not restricted. They're not even restricted to FCC.
Mm-hmm.
And granted, you're not going to get a lot of that on NASCAR. But you're not having all the extra stuff that you do on regular TV. So it could be a game changer. It could, and looks like it's going to end up being a game changer.
I think so. I mean, I would glad for the presentation. I mean, both races that we've seen so far on Amazon. I mean, yeah, they've had their moments of really good stuff, but just like with any NASCAR race, they have their same moments that suck and that are unbearable. It's a little more bearable with this group to where it's like it's just fresh ideas, and that's what Fox did when they started back in 2001. But the thing about it is, it's like a lot of things that Fox did in 2001, they're still doing them. That was a long ass time ago.
But they got rid of Digger, thank God.
Oh God. Forgot about that.
I found a Digger diecast one day in the garage. I was like, oh man.
Oh my God. That was yeah. Anyway, but yeah.
Give it to Taylor. A Digger diecast. She'd probably like it.
Yeah.
If she knew what it was, if she was listening back then.
She don't know what that was. so anyway, yeah. Great stuff right there. And where are they this week? I'm so enthralled. Michigan. Okay. Here's a great test. Because now that's one. Look, I love the speed there. I mean, I love everything about Michigan. But now this will be one. If they dress this one up and get this one, kind of get you pumped up here, then they're really that damn good. Because this one, if you don't like just sheer speed, this is one that'll make you, all right, what channel's the golf on?
Yeah, well, the problem is the logistical challenge and nightmare for most of the race teams start after next week.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because they go all the way from Brooklyn, Michigan, all the way down to Mexico City.
Now, that's going to be the one. Now, with the outcry about who does that, TNT?
No, that's a primaries.
Okay. Now
TNT gets Chicago.
They get Chicago. Okay. So with the creativity and with the new ideas and the new different things that we've seen, can you imagine when they go to Mexico? Oh my God.
It's going to be interesting because Dale Jr. will have to watch a monitor. He can't watch the racetrack.
These people
have to watch the monitor.
These people are going to lose their shit. I guarantee you, with some of the stuff that they do for this. I saw an outcry today on the Twitter to where it's like, I can't believe, because they're going to have the podium. They're going to have 3 people on the podium, like they do in Formula One. Mexico only. They're going to do the podium thing, where I'm assuming the champagne and all of that stuff already. Oh my God,
that's not NASCAR.
Dale's rolling over in his grave.
The problem is NASCAR's the only one that doesn't do podiums. Or stock car racing in general, they don't do podiums.
Dude, we did it, Kyle. I remember we
Cotton Bowl does it on a weekly basis, but
they do the podium.
They do the podium, but I'm talking like mainstream, NASCAR doesn't. It's like wins and top 5s. That's all they gives a shit about.
Hell, they even do that in Supercross, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad thing. I mean, but you know what? We've never done it before. That's the problem.
Hopefully, don't turn into like those on-track interviews. Like when NBC first started it, that was great. That was cool. Now it's like everybody does the on-track interview when it's done. It's like, I get getting the automatic feedback from the driver directly, but I mean, I also kind of like the Hat Man in the Union 76, old Bill Broderick, guiding him in. And I mean, we used to do that. We used to do that at the local track. Remember when we would make the guys stay in their cars? I had a championship driver. I won't even tell you his name. He was pissed off at me because all he wanted to do was get out and celebrate. I said, wait for me. Because then you got a chance to tell their name, tell their story. Then they got to celebrate with the crowd that way. Now it's like people win, they get out of the car and, they're jumping up and down on the roof and you got no announcer saying, hey, look, he's jumping up on the roof because you're too busy getting down on the racetrack.
Yeah. Jumping on the roof and they ain't got to fix the roof. And the crew chief is like, what are you doing? Doing burnouts? Well, a lot of times people do burnouts to get the weight right. Allegedly.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Or hit the wall accidentally and
Oops,
hit the body. Yeah. Oops.
Yeah. But it's, kind of lastly on that, it's my whole thing that I've, people ask me kind of my thought with the podium thing and trying new things to where, I've had, whether it's work stuff or business stuff or even like family stuff. Let's go have sushi. I hate sushi. Is my always my go-to. I hate sushi. Have you ever had sushi? No. That's where with this podium thing.
Yeah, but you fished with it.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like, this podium thing ain't gonna work. Why? Have we done it? No. So, but poor reference because sushi is gross. I wouldn't eat that with your mouth, Bobby.
Well, I don't need it either. So
yeah,
I'm an oyster guy. I'm an oyster guy. I don't
Oh,
eat sushi, but I'll eat a raw oyster.
Oh man, crazy stuff.
No
So
calf
here,
fries though. I'm not a calf fry guy either.
yeah. So there's that next big one that we were talking about. And the reason that I pull this up, look at them concession prices. That's what I'm talking about right there.
That ain't bad.
Yeah, you're gonna have a big race like that. Shoot, I go to town, man. I would go to town. That's where you hope when you see concession prices like that. That's where you hope that they have bathrooms like they have over at Mary Ann's.
Yeah,
because I'll be going there a few times if that's going to be the case. But that's coming up with the Mike Parker Memorial. Fun program. Great conversation as we go all the way up there. We didn't do anything down here, but I think we got it all covered down here. So, cool stuff. Cool stuff. We will do it again next Tuesday right here, same time. And again, we only moved this because you had the Berlin race last night, so we kind of wanted to just kind of allow people the chance to see that. Somebody did reach out and said, there's 2 races tonight, right? I'm like, yeah, but you know what? I can't do Thursday and we don't do Fridays unless it's a very special scenario for a pre-race. We got to start doing we need to take this on the road sometime, do some pre-race shows. I know we've said that in the past. We're going to do that. I think it'd be kind of fun.
we used to do it all the time back in the day.
Yeah, back in the day. Hell, now it's even easier. I mean, that's back when we had to track. God, you remember those trips when we had to track all that shit around? God, now it's easy. Now it is way easy. Man, still no score. Texas and Texas Tech.
But if you'd like to be part of the program, obviously there's multiple ways to get involved, all the way up from segment sponsorships all the way down to just logo sponsorships, as well as Rodney mentioned, road tripping. You could be a proud sponsor of the road trips. All you got to do is hit one of us up on social media, or hit us up directly at the racetrack, and we will make an advertising plan that works for you on a budget that works for you too. You'd be surprised the reach we have.
Yeah, on that travel thing, it's super easy to where it's just a matter of a travel sponsor, some expenses there, obviously some lodging. And although Bobby, you'd be impressed because, well, no, you wouldn't, because if we went on a trip where I booked the lodging, I would book it the way that I always have. But it's like now, when I travel, I don't book my lodging; it's booked for me. So it's like, dude, I'm gonna start sending you pictures.
The high rent district.
Holy smoke, dude! I'm like, wait a minute here. What is this? Where am I? Who am I? What's this? Sound like that dude that was running for vice president that time. Who am I? What's his name? Stockdale? Who am I? What am I? I don't know. You tell us. But anyway, the travel thing, and that would really be cool to kind of get out and go to some tracks and do a little pre-race thing there. Obviously, pretty easy setup thing there for us. Main thing is, a lot of times steady internet connection always helps. We have a mobile one, but a steady one there is always something really cool. So reach out and maybe we can get something done for you. All right, man. Your team's still playing baseball. I've got some ladies playing softball. I got some other sports stuff during the week. I'm actually home this weekend. I'll be out swinging the sticks on Saturday. Looking forward to that.
Nice. Yeah, I'll be, like I said, I'll be heading to San Antonio. One series win away from the College World Series. And ironically, they play in the smallest stadium of anybody left in the regionals.
That stadium's a piece of shit, man. I'm sorry.
I know. It's horrible.
I'm sorry.
Did you watch that video or listen to that video I sent you from the coach though, with his gigantic test? You got to go back and listen to that from that interview he did on San Antonio Sports Radio. You talk about gigantic testicles to call out the university like he did. Ooh, it's great.
I was describing that because I've been there. I mean, I've worked there, and I was describing that stadium on Texas Sports Unfiltered this week, and our text line was blowing up where they're like, you need to quit talking bad about the road runners and quit degrading them and quit exaggerating on the stadium. I'm like, I am not exaggerating.
No, the stadium's horrible. The stadium's horrible.
Yeah. I mean,
there's high school stadiums that are bigger than our stadium.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've told you this. I mean, the stadium of Lake Travis makes that look like
A practice field,
T-ball
T-ball
stadium.
practice field. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, that's one of the things I'm hoping with this run that, yeah, get a good go play at what's it called, Keefe, or I don't know where the Missions play. Go play there.
Oh, Wolf.
Wolf, yeah, Nelson Wolf. Go play there. I've broadcast games there. I mean that's better than that. I mean,
The problem is like they couldn't even if UCLA lost and UTSA got to host, they wouldn't have been able to host it there. They'd had to host it at the Wolf.
oh hell no. There's no way you could. Can you imagine them Californians rolling up into that thing? They'd be like, what? Where's the field? With their wine.
Oh,
glass.
it's over there with the tiny little soccer bleachers over there.
It's right over there. There's the press box over there. It looks like a tree house. So hopefully that's the thing with this run.
I hope so. That's my number one complaint about the athletics department over there as we divulge from a racing program. The lack of want to spend the money on the athletic facilities down there is crazy.
What's new? I mean, I think that's where, I mean, I like the Alamo Dome. I mean, for one, I'm glad it's getting some use, and you guys were live, so sorry. I wish that there was a more intimate setting. As good as that football program has been, I think y'all need.
I'd rather spend the money on an arena in baseball and softball first.
Well, yeah, because you have that one over there.
We have the football stadium.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't on campus, but we have a football stadium that can hold 60,000 people, which they're trying to get for the Texas State game.
And it's going to be renovated. So I saw some plans when I was down there for CarFest. A guy was showing me some renderings or whatever, what they're looking to do over there. And again, this is all, the Spurs are in control of this. And I think the Spurs are about to take a giant step when it becomes competitive in the NBA once again. So you get the Spurs competitive, that's going to help them get their building down there, and I think that's going to help the Alamo Dome renovations. Which
aren't they still putting a baseball stadium down there too, downtown?
I don't know. I think my whole thing is there's not a lot of room down there.
There's not a lot of room at all.
It is cramped, absolutely cramped. Anyway, but yeah, we'll see. Big race weekend. We kind of ran through some of those. NASCAR at Michigan. We'll recap all of that. And thank you all for being a part of the program. Thank you all for shifting over to Wednesday with us. That'll only happen in situations like yesterday where we were just kind of trying to do the courteous thing. Yeah, good stuff.
It happens. We can do that.
Fun program. That's the nice thing about it. We can do it whenever from our home studios. Thank you all for being a part of this. Be sure and follow on the socials. All of the updates are there. Those big events that are coming up, you can always look on the socials, and that's where you will be on top of everything. All right, my man. Hope you have a great rest of the week. You all have a great rest of the week. We will do it next Tuesday right here. Hashtag Real Race Talk. As we have said for the longest time, it is the Revved Up Sports Show. You guys be well.